It's super early for me, as usual, and I am up getting excited to get this baby gorilla done. It's not a lot of work just because there isn't a lot of real estate here. And what I'm doing right now is just going through all the parts and pieces and making sure there is no yucky, dirty spots that need to be cleaned up. I think I'm going to do a couple of flesh layers. And again, this is going to be kind of a pink gorilla, so I'm not going to do all the browns and blacks and grays. And the only reason why I'm doing a flesh layer is just to kind of mellow out some of the modeling and the shading that I did. And I'm just patting on a milky brown. It is burnt umber, baby skin, and paint thinner. And I'll probably do one, maybe two at the most. It doesn't take much. And you're just pouncing it in. The thing you want to be sure about is that you're not getting it in creases. There we go. And again, you can't even see that. It's pretty translucent. I did do a little bit, just a tiny bit of yellow. I did wash his fingertips. You can't really tell. I may do that again. I'm not sure. I think they look okay. I just noticed that in the pictures there was a lot of pinky yellow down here on the tips on the albino gorilla. Hey, it is hair painting time. And that's kind of cool. I didn't do very many layers on this gorilla. I really didn't have to, just because his vinyl was already a perfect color. I'm going to scoot you up just a little bit. Because his vinyl was already a perfect color for an albino gorilla, in my opinion. And basically that's what I'm doing. I know I'm making a pink gorilla, but he's going to be an albino gorilla with pink hair. So I got out my little tub of brushes. Let me put on my glasses. And I am going to treat this. Again, this is uncharted territory for me. So I'm just going to experiment. And the way I'm going to treat this is if I were doing a blonde fairy or a blonde baby, pardon me. And I am just going to start off with some light, almost fleshy colored brown hair, map out how I want to do this, and then bake, and then I'm going to do a lighter and lighter and lighter till I build up to an almost white platinum color. So I'm going to ignore the dark side of my palette, and I'm just going over here to the light side. And I have kind of a light reddish brown, something that's a little more ashy. This has a little bit of red in it. This is, again, a little bit more ashy, and that's platinum over there. So I'm going to probably start off here. So I'm just going to go a little swirl. I'm going to assume that primates grow hair the way humans grow hair. Although I don't know if primates have fur or if they have hair. The difference between fur and hair, and I could be wrong, and please somebody feel free to correct me, is that fur sheds, meaning we all have sheds, but fur is designed only to get as long as it will get, and then it will drop out and new fur will grow. And hair will grow indefinitely. It ultimately comes out and grows back, but it can get rather long. I think that's okay. Again, remember, this doesn't have to be perfect. It's just your sketch underneath. It's just lines to follow, your map. I'm going to clean off those ears. And let's move over here to hands. This is interesting because there's texture already built in. So I'm just going to follow whatever's there. And just go with that. I'm just going to go through and follow those little lines that the artist already put on there. Again, just experimenting the whole way. We'll see how this turns out. I don't really need a map for the hands, but I would like a little bit of this base hair so it can shadow. And I'm going to come up a little bit on the hands, not too much. This is the direction I should be going. That's the way the hair would grow, I think. That's much better. It feels better. And it kind of feels like that's the direction she sculpted that hair. Again, I don't see a lot of pattern here, so I'm not going to put as much. But I will put a little. Well, we got that baby out of the oven, or that gorilla baby out of the oven, and I just wanted to show you how messy it looks without the next layer of paint, but I started a lighter layer, and everything looks great, I think. This is not the lightest layer, it's just the next one, and I'm going to do another even lighter one. Okay, so here's an arm, and it got baked, and you can see all the subtle brown lines here. And we're going to take this lighter paint. So we started here, and we're moving over here. I did use a little bit of this on the head, but not much. It kind of just went directly over to there. I didn't think I needed to go through all the layers. And I'm just following the same exact lines. The lines that the artist put in and the lines that I painted. And I'm just following along. I'm not going to do the fingers. I just don't think that's necessary. And this paint is a little bit on the thin side. I made it a little thin because I wanted really thin lines, but I think I may have thinned it just a little too much. I mean, it'll be okay, but I'll just have to be careful. Just following those lines. That's what I meant by thin. Ugh. So I got the baby out of the oven, and I kind of like the way it turned out. The lines are not, you know, too dark. It's just a little bit, you can see a little bit of the shadow of the paint. And so I'm going to go over that with a lighter paint. Usually if I'm painting a blonde baby, I do maybe five layers of brown to blonde. But with this, I don't think I need to. So what I did was I just grabbed this lighter paint and I went over the darker paint. And you can see how the darker paint is kind of receding behind the lighter paint. And I will do probably 1 or 2 more lighter layers, and then root. So it's going pretty fast. I thought it would go pretty slow, but it's not. Let me get under this chin. I forgot to do a lot of these chin hairs. Just a little. And I'll tidy that up before I pop it in the oven. Make sure the ears are clean. So all I did was took the lighter paint and went right over that darker paint. Still following the artist lines, still following the painted lines that I did behind there, but just kind of going on top of them and lightening them up. You're just building, you're building layers from dark to light. And I mean, a lot of this isn't crucial. I mean, if I were painting a blonde head, it would be a little bit different. I wouldn't have all these grooves to contend with, and I would go a lot slower and do a lot more gradient, meaning that I would go from darker to light a lot slower. But with this, I'm gonna root on top of it, so I think it's gonna be really forgiving, so I'm not paying as much attention. And I'm using a brush that I have cut some of the bristles out of. I have a bunch of them, and some are my favorites, but I try to use just different ones because you can play around and get different effects depending how you hold it and use it. And, you know, I wish there was a secret. I think a lot of people say, you know, just show me how to do it. And I can show you, you know, the brush to use, and I can show you the color paints that work for me. But what I can't do is show you how to work a brush or how to move a brush. It's just inside of you, and you'll figure it out. And I know that's frustrating. But the more you do it, the more you'll see what you like, what works, and your body will remember that. And pretty soon you won't even be thinking about it. And you'll just be killing it, and then somebody's gonna come up to you and say, hey, how do you do that? And you'll say, you know, I just don't know. I just kept practicing, and it kind of happened. And they're gonna be like, come on, give me a break. So I think that looks okay. I will be doing a couple more lighter layers. So let me pop these in the oven, and we'll come back and do another layer.